Another great center for your assortment in your candy is a peanut butter nougat. It's really delicious. It has nuts surrounded with caramel and topped with a real creamy peanut butter nougat on top, and then dipped in chocolate. It's just an excellent flavor. It's easy to make. It tastes a lot like a Snickers bar, and we're going to show you how to do it. It's kind of a two-part process. We're going to melt some caramel and mix the nuts in and make the first layer, and then we'll cook up the peanut butter nugget center and put it on top. This is the peanut butter nougat, and it is made in 2 steps. We'll have the chopped nuts in the creamy caramel, and then we'll make the peanut butter nougat top and pour on top. The nice thing about these peanut butter nougat centers is they make a large batch, and you can cut it in half and freeze half of it for later and still get 100 centers, because altogether it makes 200 centers. Now remember, the nougat is a 2-part process, so right now we're going to do part 1. We're going to chop up some nuts in the processor and put them in melted caramel. We're going to melt the caramel in the microwave. Okay, step 1 is to chop up the nuts, and you can cut them up as finely or as coarsely as you like. We're going to cut them up fairly fine, and we're going to use where you can use a cutting board or a food processor. We're going to use a food processor. Step 2 is to take our 3 cups of chopped nuts and mix them with melted caramel. You can use the melted caramel that we get from the store. It comes in a 5-pound block. I use about 2.5 pounds. You can use as much as you like to make it as thick as you like, but 2.5 pounds makes a nice square nugget. You can also use your own caramel recipe or the recipe that we'll have on our website. To melt the caramel, put it in a microwavable bowl and cook it in the microwave on 50% power. I generally start with about 2 to 3 minutes on 50% power, and then heat it 1 minute at a time and watch it very closely so it doesn't boil. And watch the microwave very closely so that you don't burn it. You can start with 2 to 3 minutes, but check it regularly just to see that it's not melting and burning in some area. While the caramel is cooking, you want to take your pan, and you can use a jelly roll pan, and line it with cellophane so that when candy gets finished, you can pop it out and just tip it over and pop it out. I line it with the cellophane, and then we're going to put the caramel in, and we'll pat it down a little bit. We might use a little roller to roll it out a little bit. Stir it so that you can have it melts evenly in the bowl. The caramel's melted. We've had it in the microwave for about 7 minutes, checking it every minute to make sure that it doesn't burn in the microwave. And we're going to add now the chopped nuts. Okay, now we're going to pour it in the pan. Now we're going to press it down into the pan. Keep it from sticking. I put just a baggie over my hand, spray a little bit of cooking oil on it so that it won't stick, and just start working with it. It's very hot, so you have to move pretty fast, otherwise it can kind of burn your hand. We've just finished the caramel bottom with the nuts, and now we're going to show you how to make the creamy peanut butter nougat on top. There are 6 ingredients to the second layer of our peanut butter nougat. A whipped egg white, 1 cup of corn syrup, 1/2 cup of water, 1.5 cups of sugar, 1/2 cup of peanut butter, and a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. The first step is to whip an egg white, and we want to whip it and have it ready because we'll need it in about 20 minutes. Now we have our egg white whipped and we're ready to get our ingredients boiling. We have our pan with a good heavy bottom, our candy thermometer, and a wooden spoon. Now we're going to mix our next three ingredients. We'll take our caramel syrup, our water, and the sugar. Now we're going to bring this to a boil. You can put your temperature on about medium, medium-high, and that'll be fine. It'll cook. We've been stirring this for about 5 minutes and it's about to boil. Now we're going to add the thermometer, and we want to bring this to the firm ball stage, which in my altitude is about 238 degrees. As you can see on this thermometer, the firm ball stage is set for 250. In my location, I've tested this temperature, this thermometer, and it's actually 238. So we're going to bring this candy to 238 degrees. If you haven't checked your thermometer, go back to the clip on how to check your thermometer and see how to do that. Now the candy has reached a temperature of about 215 degrees, and we're trying to get to 238 for the firm ball stage. Okay, we're going to wash down the sides a little bit and make sure that we don't have any crystals forming. Gotta be careful because that's very hot. Okay, now we're getting closer. We're at about 135 and we're going to, 235. We're going to 238. Okay, now when this mixture reaches 238 degrees, we're going to take it, pour it into our egg white slowly, and mix it up. We'll still, while it's still thin, we'll take it out of there and by hand mix in the peanut butter and the vanilla. And that'll set the mixture, and we'll pour it over top of the caramel. Okay, now we're at 238, so we're going to take our mixture over to the eggs and mix it up with the egg white. Mixture over here. Now we're going to mix the peanut butter in and 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. Oops, a little more won't hurt. And stir that up. That'll cause it to start to crystallize. Now we're going to pour the peanut butter nougat that we just cooked over the caramel and nuts mixture that is the bottom layer. It's very hot, so be careful when you're using a bowl. In this case, it doesn't hurt to scrape this part out. Now we just spread it evenly. You want to work as quick as you can because this is going to set up. As I said before, you can cut it all up into pieces. I cut it into a rectangle for the dipping, or you can just cut half of it and save the other half to cut and dip later. Now the peanut butter nougat is all poured in and spread out. Now you'll let it set, and after it's set and cooled for a while, you cut it into rectangles and they'll be ready to dip. Now we've let this peanut butter nougat sit for about 10 or 15 minutes and it's ready to cut. So we're going to show you how to cut the pieces for dipping. Just take this pan and pull the chocolate or the nougat out. set it on the cutting board like that. Okay, so you want to score the, I just kind of score the top to make sure I'm getting the even piece.
Yeah.
Okay, and then mark your next piece. Cut. Now the fondant that's the nougat that's on the top could crack a little bit. It won't hurt anything. It molds pretty good. Caramel's a little bit soft, and that's fine. Just shape the piece as you go. The cooler the candy is, the easier it is to cut, but it gets too cold and then it's really hard to cut. Pretty good.
Thanks for watching my mom's video. This means a lot to her. She's been doing it for over 20 years. We hope that the tips that you've received are helpful, and we would love to hear tips from you on how we can make our video better. So please log into our website, and we'll look forward to seeing you again.